Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Professor Cisco, and I'm reaching out to my students in my CyberOps class. Okay. Now, so previously I made a few videos so far that's pretty much outlining the course and what you need to know. Now, this will be my last instructional video in the tools section of what you will need. So various tools you have already been able to get, which are, of course, you have a VM on your desktop. You have a simulated environment where you can actually do all the work in the class. And we had a discussion about that. I sent a video log about being able to do your work on your computer or using NetLabs. Another tool that you was able to get was NetLabs. Okay, so you was able to work with NetLabs and utilize that tool. Now this third tool that you're going to be introduced is the Packet Tracer. My goal here is to teach you how to download Packet Tracer, actually take a Packet Tracer course, and then build a simple network. So the course part is going to be up to you. I highly suggest that you do that you download Packet Tracer onto your computer, you go through the steps to take the course, and you take the course so you'll know how to use Packet Tracer. So many students get the Packet Tracer application and they do not know how to use it. In my classes, I make it mandatory that when you take my Cisco class, that's the first class you have to take, because Packet Tracer is highly important. So let's do this. As you can see, I'm in a Google search. I'm just going to type in Packet Tracer and enter. That's going to take you to this website here, Cisco Packet Tracer Networking Simulation Tools. Now, the reason I did that is because I don't know what part of the planet you may be on when you watch it, but I wanted you to know basically what Packet Tracer is. Packet Tracer is a cross-platform visual simulation tool designed by Cisco systems that allow users to create network topologies and emulate modern computer networks. Now that's so important. The software allows users to simulate the configuration of Cisco routers and switches. This is so important. This is a tool that's cross-platform. You can use it in Linux, you can use it in Android, you can use it in iOS, and of course Microsoft. And that's the one we'll be working with today, Microsoft Windows. Windows 10 to be precise. So it's important. Now, another reason I'm showing you this is because these are tools that we will eventually get to too. Remember, I'm going to show you how to build your own tool belt. Remember the tool belt philosophy. When a carpenter go in to do a job, he has a tool belt that has all these particular tools on. Each one of them tools stand within themselves to be something that's important in utilizing or doing the job that the carpenter needs to do. And that's what you need in computing, in the world of IT, your own tool belt that you can function with. So with that being said, you see these other tools down here. You already got VirtualBox. You're going to learn a little bit about Pulley. Wireshark is definitely going to play a game, but we're going to learn about them as we go forward. Now, after this particular tool that I'm giving you, then you're going to see me just rolling out lab after lab after lab. But I want you to have the tools that you need to function in this CyberOps world, and Packet Tracer is highly one of them. Now remember, Packet Tracer is a simulation tool. You also have an emulation tool out there, and you hear people talk about GNS3. GNS3 is an emulation tool. Now what's the difference between a simulation tool and an emulation tool? That will be one of your questions that you'll have to give an answer to in the discussion part when you see this. But for those of you who just looking at my YouTube page, this is an important thing you need to know. A simulation tool is basically something that's similar to the real thing. Just nip it in the bud. Try to educate this out of your mind or make it bigger than it really is. just know that it simulates what the real thing is actually, or what the real thing actually is. So you don't have all the bells and whistles that the real thing have. You have something that's similar to it. And that's how you think of simulation, something that's similar to the real thing. When you think of emulation, emulation is something that mimics the real thing. That means it has all the bells and whistles, or if not all of them, close to all the bells and whistles. So you want to think of emulate is to emulate or mimic. Think of the word mimic the real thing. So those are two entirely different platforms, but both of them are great. And I tell students all the time, why go out and buy an emulation tool where you have to spend money on it, because you actually have to buy the software that goes onto GNS3, and that's expensive, when you can get a simulation tool that will get you there too. Now, of course, when you're doing higher level networking, like your CCNP or CCIE, you definitely gonna use emulation tools all the time. But when you're on this associate level, you're gonna use what we call a simulation tool, and that would be something like Packet Tracer. Now, let's click on the link. So this link takes you directly to where I want you to be. Remember, I just typed in Google Packet Tracer. Packet Tracer gave me a substantial link that linked me to where I really want to be. Now, if you really want it, here's the link up here that you can actually utilize to get here. But I like showing that because I don't know where you are on the planet. So this is my way of reaching out to you and saying, hey, do it this way. That way everybody can end up in the same place. Now, this is a Cisco Packet Tracer. And understand, there's a course attached to this. Now, a lot of people don't actually take the course. They just want to get Packet Tracer downloaded. And I tell them, you shouldn't do that. You should actually go through the course so you'll know how to use the tool. But I'm going to let you be the bearer of that bad news if you don't do it. I want you to go through the course. But hey, it's up to you. You may already know how to use Packet Tracer or whatever, whatnot, but yeah, I think you should go through it. Here's a couple of things here. It's got Intro to Packet Tracer, which is the course itself, and then it's got Packet Tracer Mobile, which you can put this on your cell phone and be on the bus, the train, or in a car with someone and doing a lab. It's actually really neat. I want to get more to this level here because I really know this level, but I want to get more to using it like this because I like to stay in practice mode. Okay, teaching yourself Packet Tracer and Packet Tracer frequently asked questions. So you can always go here and begin to learn things about Packet Tracer. Now, I'm going to click on here, enter Packet Tracer course. I'm not going to click log in because I want to go here first just to show you a few more things. So as you can see right here, this is a really deep course. Now, my thing is this, if you go through this, you really gonna learn Cisco. And I suggest you go through it, sign up. But when you sign up, what's important to me is this. When you sign up with the knowledge in your brain or thinking forward. I want you to think forward. If you get this here, you would have been able to create a personality in Cisco where you can utilize this when you take your other Cisco courses. For example, if you email me and say, hey, Professor Cisco, I want to take your CyberOps course, then you'll be able to already have a username and password. And if you email me and you want to take my course and you don't have this, I'm gonna send you back to it and say, go spend that 10 hours and knock this out. It's free, it don't cost you a dime, and it's a beginner's course. And yes, it's self-paced. So I'm gonna tell you to go do that because if you're gonna be in any course that I teach, you have to know this. And read through the material so you can be aware. But you never know, I may ask you a question on some of this stuff just to see what type of person you are. Remember, the more questions that I can ask you to find out where you are in this, what we call networking or systems or programming world, the better I know if you're serious or you just doing something because it sounds good. A lot of people do that. Okay, so you can sign up today and hopefully you'll choose English if you're English. If you're not English, you can see the 2 languages that it does. I'm hoping that's Russian because that's what it looks like. But if it's not, maybe somebody will tell me what it really is. But you got the English version and you got, hopefully that's Russian. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the English version. Now, when you go in here, all you have to do is just basically answer these questions. This will put you in the Cisco Virtual Academy. This will actually give you your access to a lot of Cisco programs and classes. So my suggestion is that you do take it. You go through the enrollment, and once you go through the enrollment, this gets you in. Now, I'm gonna right now not utilize and go through the enrollment. I'm not gonna create a John Smith enrollment or anything like that. I just want to get you here so you can get through the enrollment. Now, once you complete the enrollment and all that, what will happen then is you'll be able to use Packet Tracer. So let's go to Packet Tracer right now. Now, if you notice, I didn't log you in here. This is a bunch of simple questions that you should answer. And the reason I don't like to go in here and walk through it step by step with you is because some questions you're going to want to answer and some questions you're not going to want to answer. But if you go through here and you complete this, you will have access to Packet Tracer. So please do that. And if you don't want to do this, know this: if you take a class with me, I'm going to ask you, do you know how to utilize Packet Tracer? Because in all of my classes, you need to know how to use Packet Tracer. And if you don't, I'm going to send you right back to this anyway. So beware and understand that's what I'm going to do. Okay, now we are actually at the Packet Tracer. So just to give you a brief look at how Packet Tracer looks. Once you go through all the download and you download it onto your computer, this is what you will have. Like I said, I wasn't going to walk you through the actual procedure of actually downloading it because there's a lot of questions that you have to ask, and that's personal information that I want you to go ahead and answer. But once you follow that and download it, this is exactly what you will see. This icon on your computer. Now, I know that if you talking about being in the CyberOps class, you know how to walk through and download an application onto your computer. If you don't, you need to go back to basic computing. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's one of the quintessential of things you should know about computing. But I know there's somebody in there gonna freak out. Oh, you know how to download something. Well, if you don't know how to download, just read and walk through the steps slowly. So now we're going to walk through this phase where we're actually going to build out a simple network. Now, that's why I said I think you should go through. No, I didn't say think. I said you should go through learning how to build a network in Packet Tracer. And they give you a real good tutorial. It's 10 hours, but guess what? It gives you a wealth of knowledge of how to use this application. And I'm going to tell you something. I have students who don't use this, and then I have students who really use it. And the students who really use it, by far, are a lot better when it comes to configuring programs and stuff than the students who don't use it. So if you ask him, Professor, what one tool can I use? I'm going to say Packet Tracer. Build your own networks. And that's what we're about to do. We're about to build a simple network. So the first thing I want you to understand is down here, you have multiple tools that you can use. You have your routers, you have your switches, you have other switches and hubs. You have everything, your desktops, if you want desktop PCs. As you can see, you have multiple things that you have down here that is truly usable. And you have all the cabling and wiring that you would need. You have all type of specialized devices. In other words, you have what it needs to build a network and work within that network. So we're going to keep this simple. So right now, I'm gonna go grab a couple of switches, and I say grab, but I meant grab a couple of switches and work with them. So I'm gonna use this 2960 series of switches. I'm gonna drop that up there. Then I'm gonna grab another one and put it in there. This is gonna be a simple network, and as you can see, you got switch 1 here, you got switch 2, 0 here. I can change this if I want to. I can say just simply switch S0. You will see sometimes when you have SW0, and you can do the same thing over here. Just take out some information. That's simple stuff that you will see on a given network, and now you know what it means. I'm gonna grab a couple of PCs. I'm gonna grab a PC here, and I'm gonna grab a laptop just to mess around. So I got a laptop. I'm gonna call this PC1, and I'm gonna call this LP1. So that is one of the things. I can actually keep these the same. So that's LP1. Okay, and you know that there's a difference right here. One is a laptop, one is a PC. Now, going to the cabling, I'm gonna go ahead and grab. I can grab right here, cabling right here, crossover and all that type of stuff. I want to make sure that I can get the tools that I need to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this cable here, and I'm going to click here on here, and which is on the PC, and then I'm going to go click on, should I click on RS-232? No, I'm going to go ahead and click here, and then I'm gonna lay it up into here. Okay, and I'm gonna choose Fast Ethernet 1. Okay, so that's my first connection. A PC connected to a switch, which is the normal way. Now, this is how the world really works. PCs are connected to switches unless you're doing a specialized function. I'm gonna speed up the connection because you see that orange there and you see that green here. If I do a speed up the connection, you know that this switch is now live. Switches are live. Okay, they are live when you first connect them. That's why it's important that you configure your switches. But we just gonna do a basic configuration. I'm gonna come do the same thing with the laptop. I'm gonna choose 0 here, and I'm gonna choose 1 there. So, and I'm gonna speed that up too. Okay, so they both alert. So that was simple. You just learned how to look at a simple network, okay? And you notice right here, it says Fast Ethernet 1, and it's Fast Ethernet 0. Now, from time to time, you may want to get a read out on all your devices, and that's why it's important to go through the course. I can go to Preferences here, and then I can say Show Device Models and Labels. I can click that, and then once I close it, I can see the device name now. I can know exactly what switch I'm on. I can come here and just pretty much see everything that's laid out. So I got SW0 here, and I'm gonna bring this up a little more just so I can see how it looks. And you see SW1, okay? And the same thing here. I just moved it like that so you can see the different name schemes and stuff like that. Now, one can do a little special thing because this would be, and I'm not going to go too in detail with this, but I can go in here and grab any one of these routers, 2901, and here it is now. I can connect these to the routers. Now, I can click right here. I'm going to show you something. As you see, you got Giga Ethernet 0 right there. So I can go grab another one of these basic cables, which is not basic cables, but crossover cables. And I can click on there, and I can say I want this right here, Giga Ethernet 0, and I want that to go into here. See right there, 0 to 0. Now, that's a direct connection to a router. And I can do the same thing here, click here, and go to 1, and then come to 1 here. Okay, there go to 1. So that's another way to connect. Now this is a real world connection. Laptops are connected to switches, and PCs are connected to switches. Most devices in your network are connected to a switch before it goes to the router. And I'm not going to go into what the router function is. I'm not going to go into what the switch function is in a PC. I'm pretty much wanted to show you that I just built a network here. Now I can go in here configuring this network, but I don't want to do that because that's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this was to download Packet Tracer, hopefully to get you to go through a Packet Tracer example, which is totally free, a 10-hour class with Packet Tracer, and then to show you a basic setup connection that you can use. Now, I know some of you gonna say, hey, Professor, you could have used this wiring, or you could have used that, and you could have used that. That wasn't the purpose of this. The purpose of this was to show you how to do a simple connection.